The American Revolution was nearly impossible. The colonies were outnumbered, outgunned, and outmatched by the most powerful empire on earth. Without foreign support, the rebellion would collapse. And one man, 72 years old, overweight, and dressed plainly, crossed the Atlantic and convinced a global superpower to back a revolution. This is why Benjamin Franklin may have been America's secret founder. In 1776, declaring independence was bold. Winning independence was something else entirely. The Continental Army was not a professional fighting force. It was a patchwork of farmers, laborers, and local militias. Supplies were inconsistent, weapons were outdated, ammunition ran low constantly, soldiers often lacked boots, uniforms, and even food. Meanwhile, Britain was the most powerful empire in the world. The British Army was disciplined and experienced. The Royal Navy controlled global trade routes and dominated the Atlantic. British forces occupied major colonial cities, including New York and Philadelphia. And perhaps most devastating of all, the colonies were financially exhausted. The Continental Congress had no reliable taxation system. Paper currency depreciated rapidly. Loans were difficult to secure. The revolution was running on passion, not infrastructure. George Washington could lead troops. He could inspire resilience, but he could not fund a war or challenge British naval dominance. Without a powerful ally, the American rebellion would slowly collapse. America needed money. America needed weapons. America needed ships. America needed France. But France had been humiliated by Britain during the 7 Years' War. Supporting a rebellion across the ocean was risky. If the colonies lost, France would face Britain alone again. The Americans needed someone who could persuade, charm, and strategize at the highest level of European politics. They needed Benjamin Franklin. Franklin did not look like a revolutionary general. He was not tall and commanding like Washington. He was not fiery like Samuel Adams. He was not aristocratic like Thomas Jefferson. He was older, softer in appearance, calm, calculating. But Franklin possessed something rare: international credibility. By the 1770s, Franklin was already one of the most famous Americans in the world. His electrical experiments, especially the famous kite experiment, had made him a scientific celebrity throughout Europe. He was a member of the Royal Society in London. He corresponded with leading thinkers of the Enlightenment. In France, intellectuals admired him as a symbol of reason and modern thought. And Franklin understood that reputation was power. When he arrived in Paris in late 1776, he didn't storm into court demanding aid. Instead, he leaned into his image. He dressed plainly, often wearing simple American attire rather than aristocratic clothing. He projected humility and wisdom, the embodiment of the noble American philosopher. French society embraced him. Portraits of Franklin circulated. Women styled their hair a la Franklin. He became a cultural icon. And Franklin allowed this celebrity to do political work for him. Franklin understood European politics deeply. France did not support America out of charity. France wanted revenge against Britain and an opportunity to weaken its rival. But France would only commit if the American rebellion proved viable. So Franklin pursued a careful, patient strategy. He cultivated relationships with powerful figures. He attended elite salons where intellectuals and aristocrats debated politics and philosophy. He carefully shaped the narrative that America represented liberty, Enlightenment ideals, and commercial opportunity. At the same time, Franklin quietly requested covert aid. Before France officially entered the war, it began secretly supplying the Americans with weapons, ammunition, and financial support. French assistance helped sustain Washington's army during its darkest periods. Franklin never pushed too aggressively. He knew that desperation would weaken his positions. Instead, he maintained confidence, projecting the idea that America would win with or without France. He was playing chess, not checkers. Everything changed in 1777. The American victory at Saratoga shocked Europe. For the first time, the colonies had defeated a major British army in open battle. This victory proved the rebellion was not just symbolic, it was viable. Franklin moved immediately. He pressed the French government to formalize the alliance. He emphasized that delay could allow Britain to negotiate peace and restore control. In 1778, France signed two treaties with the United States, the Treaty of Amity and Commerce and the Treaty of Alliance. This was not symbolic support. France committed thousands of troops, naval fleets, military officers and advisors, and millions of livres in financial backing. 1 million livres would be worth $70 million in US dollars in 2026. France was now openly at war with Britain. The revolution was no longer a colonial rebellion. It was international war, and Franklin had engineered it. French involvement transformed the strategic landscape. French soldiers reinforced continental forces. French funds stabilized American finances. French weapons armed American troops. But the decisive factor was naval power. In 1781, British General Cornwallis fortified his position at Yorktown. He expected British naval superiority to guarantee evacuation or reinforcement if necessary. Instead, a French fleet under the Admiral de Gaulle sailed into Chesapeake Bay. In a crucial naval engagement, the French defeated the British fleet and blocked escape routes. Simultaneously, Washington and French General Rochambeau marched south. Cornwallis was trapped. After weeks of bombardment, British forces surrendered in October 1781. Yorktown effectively ended major combat operations. And Yorktown only happened because French naval power made it possible. Without French ships, Cornwallis escapes. Without French ships, the war continues. Without French ships, Britain may regroup. Franklin's diplomacy in Paris directly shaped the outcome in Virginia. Franklin's scientific achievements were not separate from his political success. They enabled it. His experiments with electricity earned him respect among Europe's intellectual elite. His lightning rod became a symbol of rational progress. His writings reflected Enlightenment values of reason and practicality. He had always demonstrated that ideas could change the world. That reputation opened doors. When Franklin spoke in France, he was not just another colonial representative. He was a philosopher-statesman. His credibility reassured French officials that America was not chaotic or backwards, but aligned with Enlightenment ideals. Science became diplomacy. Reputation became leverage. Franklin's genius was subtle. He understood that revolutions require more than courage. They require alliances, resources, perception management. While Washington endured brutal winters at Valley Forge, Franklin endured the equally grueling politics of Versailles. He navigated suspicion, negotiated loans, calmed doubts, managed egos. He rarely demanded attention for himself, but his fingerprints were on nearly every major diplomatic development between 1776 and 1783. He helped negotiate the Treaty of Paris in 1783, formally ending the war and securing American independence. He ensured the United States was recognized not as a rebellion, but as a nation. We often remember the Revolution through dramatic images. Washington crossing the Delaware, Jefferson drafting the Declaration, soldiers charging into battle. But revolutions are sustained by logistics and legitimacy. Franklin built both. He secured funding when Congress was broke. He secured military support when Washington was desperate. He secured international recognition when America was fragile. His influence was quiet but decisive. He was not the loudest founder. He was the most strategic. Without Franklin, the revolution may not have survived long enough to become a nation. That's why he deserves the title, America's Secret Founder. Benjamin Franklin never became president. He never commanded armies in battle, but he understood power in a way few others did. He understood that influence could win wars, that diplomacy could defeat empires, that reputation could shape history. At 70 years old, across an ocean, he helped secure the alliance that turned rebellion into independence. The United States was born on battlefields, but it survived because of alliances. And Benjamin Franklin built the alliance that mattered most. Sometimes, the most powerful founder is not the one holding the sword. It's the one holding the pen, in a foreign court, reshaping the world quietly. Thank you for watching this video on Benjamin Franklin, America's secret founder. Hit the like and subscribe buttons and share with your friends. If you'd like to see a topic explored in a future video, then mention it down in the comments. Make sure to hit the bell icon to be notified when new videos are released. Have a great day, and see you in the next episode of History in 10 Minutes or Less.